The space station floated in the darkness like a small metal island. It circled a giant planet made of gas and storms. The planet was called Nine, and it was beautiful in a scary way. Orange and red clouds moved across its surface like slow rivers. Lightning flashed in storms bigger than entire worlds. The station was named Horizon's Rest. It was a research station, a place where scientists from many different species came to study the universe. 53 beings lived and worked there. They came from 12 different planets. Some had scales, some had feathers, some had no solid body at all, but only 3 of them were human. Lieutenant Park was one of those humans. He was 32 years old with short black hair and tired eyes. His job was to take care of the gravity systems. On the station, gravity was set to 0.4 g. This meant everything weighed less than half of what it would weigh on Earth. Most aliens liked it this way. Their bodies had evolved on lighter worlds, but for it felt wrong. It felt like floating in a dream that never ended. Doctor was the second human. She was which meant she studied alien life. She was younger than, with long hair she always tied back. Her eyes were sharp and curious. She spent most of her time in the laboratory, looking at cells under microscopes and writing reports that nobody else understood. The third human was Corporal. He was the head of security. He was built like a wall, with broad shoulders and thick arms. His face rarely showed emotion, but his eyes missed nothing. He had served in the military back on Earth before joining the Galactic Union security forces. He did not talk much, but when he did, people listened. The 3 humans were not close friends, but they understood each other in ways the aliens never could. They shared something that nobody else on the station had experienced. They had grown up on Earth. Earth was a heavy world. Its gravity pressed down on everything. Humans had evolved under that pressure for millions of years. Their bones were dense. Their muscles were strong. Their hearts pumped blood through bodies designed to carry weight. On the station, at 0.4 g, they felt like they might float away. The aliens found humans strange. They were insect-like creatures from a moon with very low gravity. They were delicate and beautiful with wings like glass. They called humans gravity-cursed because they came from such a heavy world. They were tall and thin, with long necks and wise eyes. They were philosophers and scientists. They called humans stonewalkers because their steps were so heavy and deliberate. Did not mind the names. He understood that the aliens were not trying to be cruel. They were just confused. To them, Earth sounded like a death world. A planet with crushing gravity, extreme temperatures, violent storms, and millions of species that wanted to kill and eat each other. The aliens could not understand why humans were so calm about it. To stay healthy, had built a special room in a forgotten corner of the station. He called it the Earth Room. It was small, just big enough for some exercise equipment and a bench. But the important thing was the gravity. He had adjusted the system so that room alone ran at 1 g, the same as Earth. He went there every day to exercise, lifting weights, running on the treadmill, keeping his body strong. Sometimes joined him. They did not talk much during these sessions. They just worked out, sweating and breathing hard, feeling the proper weight of their bodies for the first time all day. It felt like coming home. Life on Horizon's Rest was quiet and routine. Scientists did their research. Engineers fixed machines. Security officers walked the corridors and watched for problems. Days blended into weeks. Weeks blended into months. Nothing exciting ever happened. Until the cargo ship arrived. It came out of faster-than-light travel without warning. One moment the space around the station was empty. The next moment a ship was there, tumbling slowly through the void. It was a medium-sized cargo vessel named Silent Dawn. Its lights were flickering. Its engines were cold. Its distress beacon was screaming into the darkness. Was in the control room when the alarms went off. He watched the main screen as the ship drifted closer. Commander, who ran the station, stood beside him. Was old even by standards. His gray skin was wrinkled and his long fingers trembled slightly, but his mind was still sharp. "The beacon has been active for 3 days," said. His voice was soft and musical like wind through leaves. "No response to our communications." "Could be a system failure," suggested. "Maybe the crew is in stasis." "Perhaps," said, but he did not sound convinced. The station's docking clamps reached out and grabbed the Silent Dawn. The ship was pulled gently into the main hangar. A team of engineers and security officers gathered at the airlock. Was there, his hand resting on the plasma pistol at his hip. Stood behind him, carrying a medical kit in case there were survivors who needed help. Watched from a distance. He had no reason to be there, but something in his gut told him to stay close. The airlock opened with a hiss of escaping air. Nothing came out. For a long moment, everyone just stared into the dark corridor of the cargo ship. The lights inside were dead. Emergency strips on the floor gave off a weak red glow, and there was a smell. It rolled out of the ship like a wave. A thick, heavy, terrible smell. Blood. Raised his weapon and stepped forward. His flashlight cut through the darkness. 2 other security officers followed him, a named and a named. Their footsteps echoed in the silence. Watched them disappear into the ship. Minutes passed. The silence stretched. Then's voice came through the communication system. It was calm, but there was something underneath it, something cold. "We found the crew," he said. "All 12 of them, they are dead." Grabbed her medical kit and ran toward the airlock. Followed without thinking. They entered the ship together, moving through the dark corridors until they found standing in the cargo bay. Bodies lay everywhere, twisted, broken, crushed. Knelt beside one of them, a small alien species did not recognize. Its chest had been compressed until the ribs had shattered inward. Its eyes were still open, frozen in terror. "What could do this?" whispered. Shook his head slowly. His flashlight moved across the cargo bay, revealing more bodies, more death, more horror. "I do not know," he said, "but whatever it was, I do not think it left the ship." Somewhere in the darkness, something moved. The cargo bay of the Silent Dawn was a tomb. Moved from body to body, her medical scanner trembling in her hands. The readings made no sense. Every victim showed the same injuries: crushed bones, ruptured organs, massive internal trauma. It was as if something had grabbed them and squeezed until they burst. "This was not an accident," she said quietly. "This was not a malfunction or an explosion. Something did this on purpose, something alive." Stood guard at the center of the room. His plasma pistol was raised, his eyes scanning the shadows. The 2 alien security officers and moved carefully around the edges of the cargo bay. Their footsteps were almost silent. Stayed near. He was not a fighter, he was an engineer, but he felt safer being close to someone familiar. The smell of blood filled his nose. He tried not to look at the bodies. "We need to leave," he said. "We need to seal this ship and get everyone back to the station." Nodded, agreed. "We are moving out, stay close." They started walking back toward the airlock. The corridors were narrow and dark. The red emergency lights painted everything in the color of blood. Every shadow looked like it was hiding something. Every sound made his heart beat faster. They were halfway to the exit when stopped. There was small and delicate, with wings folded against her back. Her large compound eyes could see in directions that humans could not. She turned her head slowly, looking at something behind them. "There is movement," she whispered, "in the ventilation system." Everyone froze. Pointed his flashlight at the ceiling. A large ventilation grate covered an opening in the metal panels. It looked normal. Nothing was visible behind it. Then the grate exploded outward. Something huge dropped from the ceiling. It landed in the middle of the group, and for one terrible moment saw it clearly in the light of the flashlights. It was 3 meters tall. Its body was covered in overlapping plates of bone, like natural armor. 6 limbs extended from its torso, each ending in claws that looked like industrial vices. Its head was flat and wide, with no visible mouth. just two eyes like polished black stones. Had never seen one before, but he had heard stories. Everyone in the Galactic Union had heard stories. They came from a planet called Prime. It was a heavy-gravity death world, a place where everything evolved to crush and be crushed. There were apex predators. They hunted by grabbing their prey and squeezing until their victims turned to paste. Centuries ago, a pack had escaped from a research facility and killed every living being on a colony world. Over 10,000 dead. After that, the species had been classified as too dangerous to exist in civilized space. They were banned, contained, supposedly extinct. But someone had captured this one. Someone had put it in stasis and loaded it onto the Silent Dawn, and now it was awake. The creature moved faster than anything that size should move. One moment it was standing in front of them. The next moment it had in its grip. The screamed. His long limbs flailed helplessly as the claws closed around him. There was a horrible sound like thick branches snapping. His body went limp. The creature dropped him and turned toward the others. Fired, the plasma bolt hit the square in the chest. The bone armor glowed orange for a moment, absorbing the energy. The creature did not even flinch. "Run!" shouted. They ran. Was the fastest. Her wings unfolded and she flew through the corridor, disappearing toward the airlock. Grabbed his arm and pulled him forward. Walked backward, firing shot after shot at the creature as it followed them. The plasma pistol did nothing. They shrugged off every bolt like raindrops. It was not even trying to catch them. It was walking, strolling, like a predator that knew its prey had nowhere to go. They reached the airlock, was already through, her wings carrying her into the station's hangar, and scrambled after her. Was last. He slammed his hand on the emergency seal just as they reached the door. The heavy metal barrier slid shut between them and the creature. For a moment there was silence. Everyone stood in the hangar, gasping for breath, staring at the sealed airlock. Then the metal started to bend. There was pushing against the door from the other side. Its strength was unbelievable. The thick steel began to warp inward, groaning under the pressure. "That door will not hold," said. "Back to the station," ordered. "Everyone move now." They ran through the hangar and into the main station. Alarms were already sounding. Commander's voice came through the speakers, ordering all personnel to shelter in their quarters. But they did not care about orders. 15 minutes after they escaped the cargo ship, the creature broke through the airlock. It entered the station like a walking nightmare, its bone armor scraping against the walls. It moved through the corridors without hurry. It did not need to rush. Everything on this station was prey. The first to die was a scientist who had ignored the alarms. The creature found her in a laboratory. Her wings broke like glass in its grip. Then an engineer who was trying to reach an escape pod. Then two more who were hiding in a storage closet. The closet door meant nothing to it tore through the metal like paper. By the time an hour had passed, 9 station residents were dead. And gathered in the security office with Commander and the remaining officers. The Commander's thin face was pale. His long fingers would not stop shaking. "We have sent a distress signal," said. "But the nearest Galactic Union ship is 4 days away. We cannot wait that long." "Can we fight it?" one of the officers asked. Shook his head. "I hit it with a plasma pistol at close range. The shots did nothing. Its bone armor is too thick. We would need military-grade weapons to even scratch it, and this is a research station. We do not have anything that powerful." "What about the escape pods?" asked. "The creature is patrolling the pod bay," another officer reported. "Anyone who goes near it dies." Silence fell over the room. Stared at the floor, thinking. They came from a heavy-gravity world. It was built for crushing. But something was bothering him, something about the way the creature moved. "The creature has been in stasis," he said slowly. "For transport, probably for weeks, And since it woke up, it has been living in 0.4 g, that is less than a quarter of its home gravity. Everyone looked at him. So what? Asked. Met his eyes. So its muscles have started to adapt. It is getting weaker every hour it spends here, and everything it has killed so far has been aliens from low-gravity worlds, light species, easy to crush. What are you saying? Commander asked. Took a deep breath. I am saying that creature has never tried to crush a human before, and I think it might be surprised by what it finds. The security office was quiet after spoke. Everyone stared at him like he had lost his mind. Commander tilted his long head to one side, the way did when they were confused. I do not understand, the commander said. What difference does it make if the creature has not killed a human before? We have seen what it does to bodies. We would die just like everyone else. Maybe not, said. He stood up and walked to the wall screen. He pulled up information about Earth, showing it to the room. My planet has a gravity of 1 g that is more than double what we have on this station. Humans evolved under that pressure for millions of years. Our bones are denser than most species in the galaxy. Our muscles are stronger. Our internal organs are built to handle weight. Understood first. Her eyes went wide. You are saying we might survive being crushed. I am saying we might survive longer, corrected. Long enough to do something, long enough to fight back. Crossed his thick arms. His face was hard but could see him thinking. Even if that is true, surviving a few extra seconds does not help us. We still cannot hurt the creature. Weapons do not work. Weapons do not work, agreed. But I control the gravity systems on this station. What if we could change the battlefield? Commander leaned forward. Explain. Pointed at the screen. That comes from Prime. Gravity there is 1.8 g. That creature evolved to live under heavy pressure just like humans evolved on Earth. But it has been in stasis for weeks. Then it spent time on a low-gravity cargo ship. And now it has been here in 0.4 g for hours. Its body is adapting to the lighter environment. Its muscles are getting softer. Its blood pressure is changing. You want to increase the gravity, said quietly. I want to crush it, replied, with its own weight. The room was silent for a long moment, then spoke. The gravity control hub is in Section 4. That is on the other side of the station. He pulled up a map on another screen. A red dot showed the creature's last known location. It was moving slowly through Section 6, hunting. We would have to go past it. Not past it, said. Through it. We need someone to distract the creature while I reach the controls. That is suicide, one of the officers said. Maybe, admitted. But if we do nothing, everyone on the station dies anyway. At least this way we have a chance. Commander stood slowly. His tall body unfolded like a paper crane. I cannot ask anyone to risk their lives like this. This is a volunteer mission only. I will go, said immediately. There was no fear in his voice, only determination. Stepped forward. I will go too. You will need a medic when this is over. Looked at his fellow humans. They barely knew each other, really. They had shared meals sometimes. They had exercised together in the Earth room, but they had never been friends. Now they were about to die together. Or maybe not die. Maybe that was the whole point. Then it is decided, Commander said. The rest of us will try to reach the escape pods while you distract the creature. If you succeed, we will return for you. If you fail. He did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. The three humans left the security office together. The corridors were empty now. Emergency lights painted everything in shades of red. Somewhere in the distance, they could hear the creature moving. Its bone armor scraped against the walls with every step. Its hunting cry echoed through the station, a deep rumbling sound that felt in his chest. Section 4 is this way, said, pointing left. We can take the maintenance tunnels for part of the journey. They are too small for the creature to follow. And when we have to leave the tunnels, asked. Then we run. They moved quickly but quietly. The maintenance tunnels were narrow and dark. Went first, crawling on his hands and knees. Followed then. The big security officer barely fit. His shoulders scraped against the sides of the tunnel with every movement. After 10 minutes, they reached an exit, pushed open the grate and climbed out into a wide corridor. They were in Section 5 now, just one more section to go. The corridor was empty. The creature was somewhere else. For a moment, allowed himself to hope that they might make it without being seen. Then's radio crackled. "Security team, this is Commander." This voice was tight with fear. "The creature has changed direction. It is moving toward Section 5. I repeat, it is coming toward you." Felt his stomach drop. How long do we have? Minutes, maybe less. They started running. The corridor stretched ahead of them, long and straight. Their footsteps echoed on the metal floor. His lungs burned. The gravity was too light. It felt like running through water. They turned a corner and stopped. They stood at the end of the corridor. It was even more terrifying up close than it had been on the cargo ship. 3 meters of bone and muscle and hunger. Its black eyes reflected the emergency lights. Its 6 limbs spread wide, blocking the entire passage. There was no way around it. Back said, "Go back now." They turned and ran the other way. But the creature was fast, too fast. Heard its heavy footsteps behind them getting closer with every second. He heard its hunting cry again, louder now, so loud it made his ears ring. They reached a junction. 3 corridors split off in different directions. Looked around desperately, trying to remember the station layout. "Left," he shouted. "The gravity hub is left." Shoved him toward the left corridor. "Go, I will hold it off." "You will die," said. "Maybe," replied. "Maybe not. The engineer said we are harder to crush. Time to find out." He turned and faced the creature. His plasma pistol was in his hand, but he knew it would do nothing. He held it anyway, because a soldier always dies with his weapon ready. They came around the corner like a nightmare made real. It saw standing alone in the corridor. It stopped, tilting its flat head. Perhaps it was confused. Every other creature had run from it. This one was standing still. Smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Come on then," he said. "Show me what you can do." The creature charged, the hit like a freight train. One massive claw wrapped around his torso, lifting him off the ground. Another claw grabbed his legs. The creature began to squeeze. Had seen what happened to the others. He had seen bodies crushed into wet bags of broken bones. He expected the same. He expected to die in seconds, just like everyone else. But seconds passed, and he did not die. The pain was incredible. He could feel his ribs bending, feel the pressure crushing his organs. He could not breathe. His vision went white at the edges, but his body did not break. His bones, forged under the heavy gravity of Earth, were denser than anything the creature had ever tried to crush in space. They squeezed harder. Its claws tightened like industrial machines. Felt something crack in his chest. 1 rib, maybe 2, but still he did not burst. Still he did not die. The creature made a sound. It was almost like confusion. In all its time on this station, every victim had collapsed immediately. They had popped like fruit. This one was different. This one was still moving, still struggling, still alive. Could not speak. He had no air in his lungs, but he managed to raise his plasma pistol. He pressed it against one of the creature's black eyes and pulled the trigger. The bolt did no real damage. The skull was too thick, but the heat and light made the creature flinch. Its grip loosened for just a moment, twisted, trying to break free. He could not escape completely, but he managed to get one arm loose. Meanwhile, and were running. They could hear the struggle behind them. They could hear choked screams and the creature's deep rumbling growls. Every instinct told them to go back, to help their friend. But they knew that going back meant death for everyone. The gravity control hub was just ahead. Could see the door at the end of the corridor. It was heavy and reinforced, designed to protect the sensitive equipment inside. If he could get in there and seal the door, he would have time to work. Faster, gasped. We have to go faster. They reached the door, slammed his palm against the access panel. The system scanned his handprint. For one terrible moment, nothing happened. Then the light turned green and the door slid open. They rushed inside, turned and hit the emergency seal. The door slammed shut behind them, locking with a heavy clunk. The control hub was a small room filled with computers and screens. The gravity generators hummed in the walls, sending their invisible force throughout the station. Had spent countless hours in this room, adjusting settings, fixing problems, making sure everything worked perfectly. Now he was going to break it. What do you need? Asked. Time, said. He was already at the main console, his fingers flying across the controls. The safety systems will try to stop me. The station is not designed to run at high gravity. I have to override everything manually. Nodded, she moved to the door and pressed her ear against it. She could hear nothing from outside. Either was still fighting or he was dead. She did not know which was worse. Worked in silence. Warning messages appeared on the screen one after another. He dismissed them all. The first safety protocol shut down, then the second, then the third. The creature will feel the change immediately, he said without looking up. As soon as I start increasing gravity, it will know something is wrong. It will come here. Can the door hold it? I do not know. Maybe, maybe not. Looked around the room. There was nothing she could use as a weapon, just computers and cables and machinery. She felt helpless. She was a scientist, not a soldier. How high can you go? She asked. The emergency maximum is 3G, replied. 3 times Earth gravity. I have never tested it before. The station might not survive. Neither will we. Stopped typing for a moment. He turned and looked at. Her face was pale but calm. She knew what they were about to do. She knew they might die trying. Humans can survive 3G, he said. Fighter pilots on Earth experience that kind of force regularly. It will hurt. It will be hard to move, but we can survive. And the creature? The creature has been living in 0.4G for hours. Its body has started to adapt to the lighter environment. When I hit it with 3G, it will be like dropping a building on it. Its own weight will crush it. A loud bang came from outside. The door shook. The head found them. Turned back to the console. His hands were shaking now, but he forced himself to focus. One more safety protocol. One more override. Just a few more seconds. The door bent inward. Metal screamed as the creature pushed against it. Could see the shape of its claws through the steel. Almost there, he said. Another bang. The door buckled. A gap appeared at the edge. Through the gap could see one black eye staring at him. Said, her voice was very quiet. I know. His finger hovered over the final command. On the screen, a simple message waited for confirmation. Gravity increase, 0.4G to 3G. Warning, structural damage possible. Confirm. The door tore open. The stood in the doorway, its massive body filling the frame. Its bone armor was scratched and burned from its attacks, but it was still standing, still hunting. Its black eyes locked onto. It stepped forward. Pressed the button. The effect was instant. Invisible force slammed down on everything, collapsed to his knees, fell beside him. The weight was crushing, pressing them into the floor. Every breath was a struggle. Every movement took all their strength. But they had it worse. The creature stumbled. Its legs, strong enough to chase prey across a death world, suddenly could not support its own body. The bone armor that protected it became an anchor, dragging it down. It tried to take another step and failed. It crashed to the floor. The writhe trying to push itself up. But at 3G, it was carrying more than 7 times the weight it had adapted to. Its muscles tore under the strain. Its joints cracked. Its internal organs, designed for heavy gravity but softened by days of lightness, began to fail. On the floor of the control hub, watched the creature die. It took longer than he expected. That was tough. It fought against the gravity, struggled and screamed and refused to give up. But physics is not an enemy you can fight. Gravity does not care how strong you are. Eventually, the creature stopped moving. Its black eyes went dull. Its body lay still, crushed by its own weight. Let out a breath he did not know he was holding. Then he remembered the weight pressed down on like a giant hand. Every muscle in his body screamed. His lungs burned with each breath. Moving felt like swimming through concrete, but he was alive. He was still alive. Beside him lay face down on the floor. She was breathing in short, painful gasps. Her arms were spread out, trying to support a body that suddenly weighed 3 times what it should. Said, his voice sounded strange, squeezed by the pressure. "Are you okay?" "No," she managed, "but I am alive." Forced himself to move. Every centimeter was agony. He crawled toward the control console, pulling himself across the floor like a wounded animal. The body of the lay in the doorway motionless. Its bone armor had cracked in several places. Dark fluid leaked from the gaps. He reached the console and grabbed the edge, pulling himself up. The effort made spots dance in his vision. His heart pounded so hard he could feel it in his teeth, but he managed to stand, leaning heavily against the machine. His fingers found the controls. He could not think clearly. The pressure was affecting his brain, making everything slow and foggy, but he remembered what he needed to do. Gravity decrease, 3G to 1G. Confirm. He pressed the button. The change was gradual this time. The system lowered gravity slowly to avoid shocking the station's structure. Felt the weight lifting from his shoulders, felt his lungs expanding with easier breaths. At 2G, he could stand properly. At 1.5G, he could walk. At 1G, Earth gravity, he helped to her feet. They stood together, looking at the dead creature. It had been the most dangerous predator in the galaxy. It had killed dozens of beings without effort, and now it lay on the floor, crushed by a force it could not fight. Said suddenly, "We have to find." They moved as quickly as they could. The station felt different at 1G, everything had proper weight again. Realized he had not felt this normal since he left Earth years ago. They found in Section 5, lying in the corridor where they had left him. His body was covered in dark bruises. Blood leaked from his mouth and nose. His chest moved in tiny, shallow motions. He was alive. Dropped to her knees beside him. Her medical training took over, pushing aside the fear and exhaustion. She checked his vitals, scanned his injuries, made quick decisions. Multiple broken ribs, she reported. Internal bleeding, possibly a collapsed lung. He needs surgery now. Activated his communication device. "Commander, this is Lieutenant Park. The creature is dead. We need a medical team in Section 5 immediately." There was a long pause. Then's voice came through, filled with disbelief. "The creature is dead. How is that possible?" "Gravity," said simply. "I crushed it with gravity." The medical team arrived minutes later. They loaded onto a stretcher and rushed him toward the medical bay. Went with them, refusing to leave his side. Stayed behind, too tired to move. He sat down in the corridor, his back against the wall. His body ached in ways he had never felt before, but he was alive. They were all alive. Commander found him there an hour later. The commander walked slowly, his long limbs unsteady. The high gravity had affected him badly. Several of the other aliens had passed out completely. A few had broken bones just from falling. "The escape pods reached minimum safe distance before you increased gravity," said. "Everyone who evacuated is safe. In total, we lost 14 crew members to the creature before you stopped it." 14, repeated quietly. 14 people dead. 14 beings who would never go home. Sat down beside him. The moved carefully as if every bone in his body hurt. The Galactic Union security ship will arrive in 3 days. They will investigate the cargo ship, find out where that creature came from and who transported it illegally. There will be consequences. Nodded. He did not really care about investigations or consequences right now. He just wanted to sleep. "May I ask you something?" said. "Yes." "How did you know? How did you know that gravity would work?" Thought about the question for a long moment. He thought about Earth, about the heavy, demanding world where his species had evolved, about the earthquakes and hurricanes, the volcanoes and ice ages, the predators and diseases. Humans had survived all of it, not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they could endure. "On Earth," he said slowly, "everything tries to kill you. The planet itself tries to kill you. Gravity pulls you down, weather beats you, predators hunt you, and yet we survived. We built cities, we reached the stars." He looked at with tired eyes. That creature thought it was the ultimate predator. It thought nothing in the universe could stand against it. But it made a mistake. It forgot that some species are built to carry weight. Some species are forged by their worlds into something harder than bone. Was quiet for a moment, then he spoke softly. "The other species call humans gravity cursed. They think you suffer because of your heavy world." Smiled. It was a small smile, tired but genuine. "We are not cursed," he said. "We are blessed. Earth gave us dense bones and strong hearts. It taught us to endure pressure that would break other species. When that creature grabbed Corporal and squeezed, it expected him to burst like everyone else. Instead, he fought back. He survived long enough for me to reach the controls." He stood up slowly, his muscles protesting. The station was set to 1G now, and he had no intention of changing it back to 0.4G. Let the other species adjust for once. "The universe thinks we are fragile," he said. "They see our soft skin and think we are weak, but we come from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to carry weight. We learned to survive." He looked out through a nearby window. The stars were shining, distant and cold. Somewhere out there, other predators lurked. Other dangers waited, but humans had faced worse. "That creature tried to crush us," said quietly. "Gravity did the rest." 3 days later, the Galactic Union security ship arrived. Was stable by then, recovering slowly in the medical bay. His ribs would heal. His organs would recover. The doctors said he would be back on duty within a month. The investigators examined the dead and the cargo ship. They found evidence of illegal trafficking, of criminals who captured dangerous species and sold them to collectors. Those criminals would be hunted down and punished. But none of that mattered too. What mattered was that they had survived. 3 humans against an apex predator. 3 soft, fragile beings who should have died in seconds. Instead, they had won. Because humans were not built for paradise worlds. They were built for Earth, and Earth had made them stronger than anyone knew.